Start with a map, not the news, not the politics, just the map. Iran sits at the center of everything. To its west, Iraq. To its east, Afghanistan and Pakistan. To its north, Turkey and the Caucasus. To its south, the Persian Gulf. Every major regional power in the world borders or sits near Iran. That is not luck. That is why Iran matters. The mountains along Iran's borders are not just landscape. They are the first line of defense. For centuries, every army that tried to conquer Iran ran into those mountains and either turned back or got swallowed. The Mongols came, the Ottomans came, the British came. Iran is still here. Inside those mountains sit two of the largest deserts in Asia, the Dashti Kavir and the Dashti Lut. Crossing Iran is not just difficult, it is one of the hardest military challenges on earth. Every Iranian government for 1,000 years has understood this. The geography is the strategy. Protect the borders. Control what's around you. Never let anyone use a neighboring country as a platform against you. Now look south. At the bottom of Iran sits a narrow strip of water that the entire world depends on, the Strait of Hormuz. It is the only sea passage out of the Persian Gulf. In 2024 alone, 20 million barrels of oil pass through it every single day. That is roughly 20% of everything the world burns. China, India, Japan, South Korea, all of them depend on what flows through that water every morning. Iran controls the northern shore of that strait. It controls 7 of the 8 major islands inside it. Its navy patrols it continuously, and it has repeatedly made one thing clear. It can make life very uncomfortable for anyone trying to use it. Iran has never fully closed the Strait of Hormuz. It does not need to. The threat alone is enough to move oil prices, alarm governments, and put the US Navy on high alert. That is leverage most countries can only dream of, and Iran was born with it. But geography and oil still don't explain everything. For that, you need to understand what Iran built over the past 4 decades. The proxy network. Iran does not fight its enemies directly. It fights them through partners. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen. Shia militias spread across Iraq and Syria. Each group operates in a different country with different local objectives, but they all serve the same purpose. They extend Iran's reach far beyond its own borders without a single Iranian soldier crossing a line. Think about what that means strategically. Iran sits in Tehran and simultaneously has influence in Lebanon on Israel's northern border, in Gaza on its southern border, in Yemen threatening global shipping lanes, and in Iraq sitting next to American forces. That is not an accident. That took decades to build. Iran cannot match the United States or Israel in a direct war. It knows this, so instead of building a conventional military that could, it built something harder to destroy. A network of relationships, weapons supplies, and political influence spread across 4 countries. You cannot bomb a network into non-existence. Then there is the nuclear question. Iran has never confirmed it is building a nuclear weapon. Its official position is that the program is for civilian energy. But the scale of uranium enrichment goes well beyond what civilian energy requires, and the entire world knows it. Here's the context most people miss. Iran watched Iraq in 2003. Saddam Hussein gave up his weapons program under international pressure. Then the US invaded anyway and destroyed the country. Iran watched Libya in 2011. Gaddafi gave up his nuclear program in 2003 as part of a deal with the West. 8 years later, NATO helped overthrow and kill him. Iran drew a very clear lesson from both of those events. Countries that give up their deterrence get destroyed. Countries that keep it get left alone. Whether you agree with that logic or not, it is not irrational. It is a cold calculation based on watching what actually happened. Everything connects back to the same thing. The geography, the strait, the proxies, the nuclear program, they are not separate policies. They are one policy. Preserve the state. Project enough power to deter attack and never be at the mercy of an outside power. Iran has been sanctioned, isolated, bombed, and targeted for over 40 years. It is still here, still projecting influence across the Middle East, still controlling the strait, still advancing its nuclear program. That is why every US president since 1979, Republican or Democrat, has had to deal with Iran, not because they wanted to, because the geography, the oil, and the power Iran has built over decades made it impossible to ignore.